Greetings. I'm Steve Cook, Superintendent Ben Lapine, with the board report for the April 11th, 2023 board meeting. We just finished up. It's a little after 8 o'clock. It was a busy day. We started off early with the very first budget meeting of the year with our budget committee. And so that was almost a full hour and a half. We started that meeting at 4 o'clock, started that process and kicked that off. Our regular meeting started at 5:30. And the very first thing we had an opportunity to do was to have our Champion of Students Award, and we were excited to celebrate our second student celebration since this award's been since its inception. And today we celebrated Nev Gerard from Bend High School for her work in just advocating for the needs of the students of that population, specifically to things like the school-based health clinic and Menstrual Dignity Act. She's just such an advocate for her fellow students, and it was really a fantastic celebration for us to be able to recognize her tonight. And she is our second student that has officially won the Champion for Students Award. A very exciting time. We had 5 public comments tonight. 2 of those public comments came from our students. Oh, excuse me, 3 of those comments came from our students, Tamara Spalding and Daisy Chavez, both from High Desert Middle School, had public comments regarding Menstrual Dignity Act as well. We had a public comment from Mark Koopman helping frame out that presentation from those 2 students. And then we had another student, Xanthos Ferrum, who listed off quite a few the bills that are in the legislative session that they were asking the board to challenge and not support these bills. And then our last public comment was from a parent and staff member, both. Her name is Jen Sawyer, who works in the district at Caldera High School, but also wanted to call out the fact that she felt like there's reason to believe that we need to do a better job of accountability, balancing restorative justice and accountability as it comes to student discipline, student behavior. Was a very thoughtful comment for us to consider. And then we moved into a report from our foundation. And that was actually a change in the agenda. The foundation report was just them talking about some of the fundraising that they're doing, how they're using those dollars for scholarship, opportunities for students, classroom grants, and they challenged us to come to their largest event of the year, their trivia night on May 3rd, and then also pint nights at one of our breweries. And so just really would challenge you to go to their website and look for those opportunities to help support that work. All of those dollars go into classroom grants and scholarships for our kids. Then we had Chair Barnes-Dalakia's report. She brought out some comments about the excitement of all of the engagement of our board members now currently across the community, and described ways in which each one of our board members is engaged in different activities across the district, both in schools and with our community. I had very quick superintendent's report after that. Talked about the job fair and the fact that we had almost 200 applicants show up for the job fair. The work of this Culture and Climate Task Force is getting ready to kick off. We have 3 dates coming up in the next 2 months for that group of about 35 individuals focused on disruptive learning in our classrooms and how that work is going to focus into the rest of this year and for the future years as well. Also talked about the town hall that just was completed at COCC and how about 80 to 85 of our students were able to participate in that and really go into detail about understanding and dealing with the challenges of people of color in this community and in our school district, and those conversations that were led by many of our community members who served as table hosts for those conversations. And then the last thing I brought up was MUPTI, which is a program that's being sponsored by the city to help growth and development happen in our city that also has public benefit. We're going to be seeing a presentation or a recommendation we'll be presenting to the board in the May meeting about a program that's being considered for some development in the corridor just off of Olney. So we'll be talking about that next month. Consent passed with no action or no negative action. And then we had one action item for tonight, and that action item was Resolution 1947, which was acknowledgement and recognition of Teacher Appreciation Week, which is going from May 8th through May 12th. Then we had 3 really detailed reports. The first one was the finance report, which talked about The third quarter financials, which we know now by third quarter, you really start to have a really good picture of what's going on. Our revenue's actually a little up about $500,000, which was a nice surprise because of investment income. And our expenditures at this point in the year are down about $500,000. That comes from what is commonly known as vacancy savings. We anticipate that's going to equal out to a fund balance for the end of this year of about $15.9 million. It's really important for that to happen because we're going to use those excess dollars to help balance the budget for next year. Then Jackie Wilson did a sustainability report, which was fantastic. 4 concepts that she really shared great detail on is the long history of sustainability in our district, specific to these 4 areas for now, our focus for now: education, transportation, operations, and material management. And a little known fact that 75% of our schools currently right now have a green team. By the end of 2025, we're hoping that we can shoot that number up to 100%. Every one of our schools has a green team active in one of those 4 or even all of those 4 areas. Then our last presentation of the night was a presentation that came out of our DEI department, led by Kinsey Martin, on instructional practices and professional development. We had 4 guest speakers tonight. Our lead TOSAs, Mark Koopman, Amy Zipnewski, Brian Gonzalez, and Laura Swales, did some presentation of the work that's going on in our schools as it relates to just the lead work in general, which is, as you know, is the focus of our equity work across the system, and how each one of those TOSAs are serving in capacity to help teachers develop lessons or provide professional development, to just sit and be in a meeting with parents as they talk about some of the equity work that's going on. Or co-planning and co-teaching across the district, and how in the near future those roles will actually be expanding, and they'll be getting more opportunity and more FTE to focus on that work. And then the last thing I think we had was a presentation by me that restructured the executive limitations, which are a foundational point of the work of the board in policy governance. They set those executive limitations for district administration and the superintendent to complete their work. And we presented the very first draft of that restructure for them to take on and start looking at and see if there's anything they want to add or change to it. And so if and when we get that to a final product, that'll go out for public review, just like any policy work that we would do. And we had some comments from each of our board members just appreciating all the work of tonight. And that's it. We finished up at about 8:05, and our next board meeting is the work session in 2 weeks at the end of April. And that's your board recap for the April 11th board meeting 2023. I'm Steve Cook. Have a great evening.